Yeah.
I'm very excited to be interviewing Jessebel today about her very first, but then she came back for more 10-day Parasite program. Jessebel, how did you first come into my world, or when did you first come into my world?
I first came into your world last year in May for my very first parasite cleanse. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's when I
What
first came in.
what intrigued you? Like, what made you go, I think I've got parasites?
I was actually following Jackie and I saw the first time like, what the hell is that? And then I decided I'm just gonna delve in a little bit more, ask her who she does it with, and then she obviously tagged you, and so I went down that rabbit hole of who the heck is Shelley Gowith and what does she offer? And then a lot of the symptoms that you started talking about, everything was just like, that's me. I identify with all of that. And so I figured I might as well invest and work with Shelley and do a parasite program.
So before Jackie and the power of social media, were you sitting at home thinking I've got parasites, or were you sitting at home thinking I've got symptoms or there's things going on in my body?
I was at home thinking, I've got this eczema problem. I don't know what it's what's like, what the cause of it, the why I was experiencing it. And I put it down to, oh, it might just be working in a greenhouse for a little bit. And I didn't even know what parasites were. I had no clue until I came across you. Yeah.
I love this, Jezebel. And tell me, with your eczema, had you had that for years, months?
I probably had it for about a year before I found you. And I was just like, trying to do cutting out dairy, cutting out sugar, trying to desensitize myself to them, or sensitize or desensitize myself to them. And I mean, for a period of time when I was eating clean, no dairy, no gluten, worked a treat. And
Hmm.
then those things started coming back into my life because I love food. I'm a foodie. And then I was like, okay, there must be more to it. And because I don't want to give up the foods that I love.
And Jezebel, I actually love that you've touched on this because you do what so many people do with the very best intentions. And you'll see this with your clients too, I know. They restrict their diet, like you did that, the sugar and the dairy, and it works while you've restricted your diet. And that's when I'll say to clients, like, we actually want the food back in. Like, we want the dairy and the sugar back in. Obviously, like, I'm a nutritionist. I'm never going to say eat a bag of candy every day. But you should
Yeah.
still be able to go and enjoy your life and have your desserts and your treats or whatever you want. And so for clients,
Definitely.
when they're like, I'm fine when I'm restricting that food, I'm like, but that's not really a quality of life. Like you want to be able to have your cake and eat it too, literally. And so I always say to clients, if you notice a difference when you restrict your food, your diet, that is a number one sign you've definitely got parasites, especially when you go and like clients will always say to me, but what happens if I eat the food again and I react, which actually happened to you as well. And it's like, well, you haven't gotten rid of all the parasites. Like it's obvious. It's a
Exactly.
no-brainer.
And that was when I was like, okay, after I did that first parasite program back in May last year, I thought, okay, life is good for, I think it was about a month and a half because we were still eating quite clean. And then the food started coming back, habits started to come in, and I was like, thankfully my eczema never come back since. But you start to notice the symptoms like I had such good energy, so much like clarity and focus in my work for that month, almost 2 months, and then things just slowly came back into my routine, and you could just, those symptoms start coming back. And
And
so I was like, parasite cleanse is a regular thing that I will be doing at least once or twice a year.
And Jezebel, also, I think that's really beautiful. The point that you've just touched on is we accept symptoms. So, like, I almost want to, in love, shake everyone in the world and be like, just do one parasite program at least. Because if you're accepting symptoms or you don't think you've got parasites, like, like, and you've accepted your energy levels or the brain fog or the lack of focus and clarity or the slowness of work, or in your case with your clients where they are not moving their bodies as they should or joint pain or whatever it is, It's like,
Mhm.
but if you just do it before and after, like do one program and see like you did where you got better energy and you got all these positive results. Well,
Yep.
you know you had parasites. And then when the food comes back in, the dairy and the sugar, and if you start reacting and your energy and the brain fog comes back, well, you know you've still got more, which is okay. You know, like it's okay. And then Jezebel, for now, you're very lucky because you don't have little humans. And I don't think you have animals. Do you have animals?
I got animals, Shelly, 100%. I've got a dog, I've got a cat, and I've got chickens and sheep and a goat. So that's why I figured
Isabel, you
parasite
need
cleanse.
more than an annual parent. Like I'm like you're gonna keep like, but surely the goat and the sheep aren't inside. No, just like I'm
No,
like,
no, they're
but with
definitely
the
not
dog
inside.
and the cat, that's why I was like, people with small humans and animals regularly need to do them because we keep picking them up from our environment. It is just life.
100%. And this is where what's super interesting is because I live rural. And most of the people that I know, my clients, they're all rural. And anyone that knows I'm doing a parasite cleanse, I question them and I'm like, are you ready to do a parasite cleanse? Because you've either got kids, but you live rurally and the water that you're drinking, like, and if you eat pork or like fresh food, like raw food, you're very likely going to have parasites. And it's an interesting one because some people accept their symptoms and some people or accept the symptoms and move on because they don't want to get rid of the things. But for the people that I know need some help, I'm like, go see Shelly, go see Shelly.
So, Jezebel, for your clients and the people that aren't, that do have the symptoms and do want to do something about it, what would you say to them, or what is stopping them from doing something other than cost? Like, if we got rid of cost, is there a fear that they're worried about? Like, is there an underlying something that you have experienced it twice now? Like, you've done two parasite programs now. What would you say to people that are worried?
I think because when I've talked to friends about it. Some of them come up with, but I don't want to check my poo. And I'm sitting here going, don't you want to know what's in there? But I totally get it. Not everyone wants to check their poo. I was fascinated by it. So I think for some people it's maybe the poo or like the idea of, oh, I have to check my poo. But I tell everyone you don't actually need to check your poo. Just trust the process and
Totally
look at
agree. You
how you're feeling.
definitely, and it's not like where everyone's uploading photos, and it's not like I make you stand in your bathroom checking your toilet with you. If like some people do it like and don't want to check their poo, which I'm totally fine with, but I'm like, that's also why we do data points for the people that don't want to see things coming out of the toilet bowl. I definitely believe that seeing is believing, but also measuring, because obviously after a decade of working with clients, I know the stories that happen and the things that happen when we go and tell our friends and they're like, parasites aren't true. And all of a sudden, all of your amazing results can get diminished by other people and voices of the crowd. And so that's why we definitely do data check-in because I know myself included, and you've seen me in the chat, some of the centimeters, like the lymphatic work that happens, I
Yes,
wouldn't believe it. Like when I watch a client and I'll be like 7, 12 centimeters, whatever it may be that they've lost in a certain area in 10 days. So it's like, even if you don't want to check your poo, there are other data points that I get you to do, right, Jezebel?
100%. And it's interesting because, well, from the first time I did it, I was all about checking my poos in that first program. And then between last year and this year, we've moved houses, and so I've lost my poo stick, that stick. And so I was like, I don't have a stick, and I'm not going to check. And because I've done it before, I knew it was coming out, and I knew the parasites were being released from me. And so I actually focused on doing more of the measurements, the data points this time because. Yeah, I just didn't have the capacity to keep looking through my poo this time round.
And you did, and also, and that's the cool thing. Like, there's always options. Like, and that is what I've learned after a decade. I'm like, we customize it. Like, it's a group program, which I think is really beneficial, but it's also customized to each person on the program, age as well.
Yes. 100%. And I just want to just emphasize how I just remember as well the first time I did it, I was getting really stressed out. Like I was like, I don't know how to use this pee stick, to check my pH. It was just overwhelming for me. I wasn't getting the results that we were hoping for. And so I was like, I'm just going to leave it. And the one thing that stood out for me was do what you said was do what works for you, make it easy, don't make it harder than it needs to be. And that's why I was like, that makes sense. Why not? Like, I've got busy lives. I've got a busy life. A lot of people I know have busy lives. It's like, we're still getting the results, but do what you can within your capacity.
And Jezebel, the other thing that I love as a practitioner is I like to give you a gift of like a smorgasbord, where it's like every time you come do the program again, you take a new item from the smorgasbord. And so it's like the gift that keeps on giving. Sometimes you do everything in the 10-day program. Other times you'll do 20 or 30%. But the thing is, you'll always get results. And then you've got tools that when you have more capacity or time or brain space, so you can delve into those new things that you've learned and do it when it suits you. Like that, it's the gift that I like to think of it as yes, it's 10 days of us together, but it's the gift that keeps on giving.
100%.
And then Jezebel, obviously, when you came last May, you weren't an AMD foot detox practitioner at all. So, two things on that note is as a practitioner, like you've converted, trained, done all the things, by doing the parasite programs, how does
Yes.
that help you look at the water, or how does that help you view all your clients coming in for AMD foot detoxes? What do you think
Oh my
in your
gosh.
head?
I knew this question was coming because it's such an interesting one where, we don't always tell people about parasites because, again, not everyone wants to know that they have parasites in their body. So, being an AMD iron practitioner, I've definitely seen that. Okay, I haven't seen anyone yet who hasn't shown up with parasites.
Interesting, Jezebel, because it's really interesting because I'll go back to your personal experience. At the very beginning of this interview, you didn't believe, like, of when we were talking about how you came to this, it's not like you were sitting at the couch last January, 2025 January, going, I've got parasites. And it's the same with a lot of your clients coming to the AMD Ion Foot Detox sessions. They're probably not putting their hands up and coming into you, and the first thing they're saying in their 30, 45-minute appointment with you saying, I've got parasites, Jezebel.
No, no. Well, interestingly, as I've been talking a lot more about you to my clients who talk to their friends about it, a few people have come to me through my friends saying, doing the foot detox and being like, I want to know more about the parasite cleanse. And because there are people who are very interested in knowing how parasites come to be. And I think that's the first step. People need to know that parasites can be basically getting, like, you can get parasites from basically everywhere.
Oh, Jezebel, like, and I don't like to exaggerate, but on that note, it's like I truly believe the more I studied, and after a decade, like when I first started clinically a decade ago, I kind of did think they were an overseas problem. Like it was my clients that had traveled to Africa or Asia, not in a rude way, but like, places like that that we'd heard of. And then as I started to, like, obviously a decade later, I'm like, basically 99%. Like, if you're breathing, it is so unlikely that you don't even have a parasite. And one hard fact that really got me was I was like, when I was studying on the CDC website, and they're talking about how parasites can live in chlorine in a swimming pool for 3 months.
It's
Right? So I'm
insane.
like, if they're living in a swimming pool for 3 months, and like, most of us, like I grew up going to childhood swimming pools. Like most of us, as part of our human living experience in whatever country we're in, spends time in a swimming pool. And there's
Exactly.
always children in swimming pools. It's not just
Yep.
children that have, like, it's not just the little ones that give us parasites. Adults can too. But you're going to be swimming with somebody that's probably just come back from a third world country. Like, and it's like when clients ask me, why is there more parasites than ever? Well, it's because we travel. Like, 50, 100 years ago, our grandparents, like my grandparents they weren't traveling all around the same way that this younger generation, even more so, travels.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
yes, I interrupted you. So keep going. So your clients are now asking more about it and wanting to know how they got them, and you believe that most people have them, just like me.
Yes. And well, it's so interesting because obviously I have access to my own foot detoxes during the program.
I
And
wanted to touch on that too. That was the second question.
Oh my gosh, Shelley, like it's insane. Like I was before doing the parasite cleanse, I would still be doing them. There would be, it shows up signs of parasites. But when I was doing it during the 10 days, I noticed, oh my gosh, like more of it was coming out. And so I was like, okay, the program's obviously clearing out more stuff and that's coming out in the water. So I was like, wow, okay, keep doing them. And so it's kind of like the foot detox is like a boosted effect to really get more of it out and
Yes,
to just further support the
and
body.
also Jezebel, did you notice a difference? And I know it's hard to say because we are speculating here 100%. Between your first experience without the foot detox and your second experience with the foot detox, like did you personally notice a difference in how you felt or symptoms?
I think one thing I noticed, like I can't quite don't see much difference, but one thing I did notice was I probably slept better the second time around.
Yeah, that will be true
Yeah.
because of the nervous. Because obviously, when we do a parasite cleanse, I say this not to stress anybody out. I'm about to use the word stress, but we are kind of stressing the body or creating irritation, right? There is a friction. Like the
Yeah.
herbs are designed to kill off the parasites in your body, which I know sounds, like duh, but so that creates a stress, like an inflammatory response in your body in a good way. And so then, and it has to be done. Unfortunately, like we have to do that, but it's managed, and I help you, and so it's very safe, and you're still like looked after. But the nervous system benefits, as well as the detox benefits and the liver benefits of the AMD ion foot detox. But that will
Mhm.
be what you're talking to, Jezebel. Even though we've created the friction, the irritation to kill off the parasites, because you had all the nervous system benefits of the AMD ion foot detox, you would have slept so much deeper because it's like you're countering the stress response
Yeah.
with the beautiful positive and negative polarity of the foot detox. So it's like we've created inflammation and irritation, but you can still sleep really well because your nervous system's so well looked after because of the foot detox. So you've hit the nail on the head. Like that is such a beautiful experience to share around the enhanced benefits of doing them both together. Like you still get benefits from doing the foot detox without ever doing parasite programs, 100%.
Nicely.
And you still get benefits of doing the parasite program without doing the foot detox. But when you use tools, like I'm a big believer as in health stacking and using as many tools as possible to get an enhanced benefit. And you've just
Yeah.
nailed that. Like you
Yeah.
100%. Jezebel, what was the
Yeah.
most surprising thing you either read in the group or somebody said that surprised you during the program?
That's a really good question. I think it would have been, gosh, so many topics were talked about during the 10-day program. It's like, where do I even start, Shelley? Um, I think, and it was something that you told me, and I knew it already from the first one, but in my mind, I thought I had to take some of the droppers, because I don't do very well with alcohol. I feel pretty shit. My face goes red. I go really tired. And for someone that's waking up really early in the morning to have like basically alcohol for my system in the morning, I was like, oh, I feel a little bit drunk. What surprised me was just how much I um, could still work with Para 3 on my skin. And it's not something I had to just ingest? So again, talking about how to make it easier for yourself because I've got long days. I don't want to be feeling drunk at the start or in the middle of my day. So just knowing that I was going to do what worked for me. And I think that is just something that I wanted to just re-emphasize for anyone that's listening to this.
And you have hit the nail on the head once again, Giselle. It is what works for you. And one more thing. Um, you could obviously work throughout it. Like you kept, because people always ask me this, can I do my job on the program?
Yeah. Yes, 100%. I worked on my program. And then actually another thing that people are always worried about is, do I have to be by the toilet like for the next like 5 hours or like for the whole day? And I'm like, maybe if you want to for the first day, if you're like really worried and not sure how you're going to react, stay at home or close to a bathroom. But honestly, I felt like I understood my body's response a lot more. So in a way, I knew how to time it because I'd done it the second time. I knew how long it would take before my body's like, right, we need to go release now. Um, so yeah, it's you don't have to be by the bathroom
And
when
also,
you
Jessebel, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not like there's anybody dropping into the chat and people share all sorts of things in the Telegram chat. So they would definitely share this saying, oh my goodness, I ran to like I had a bathroom emergency. Like we don't, there's nobody that's done it in their pet, like because a lot of people fear that. And it's like nobody has a bathroom emergency. You might be
no one.
urgently wanting to go to the bathroom when you go to the bathroom, opposed
Yeah.
to sometimes if you're constipated or something like that. But we haven't had any, I've never had in a decade any accidents with somebody doing something in their pants that they don't want to be doing.
Exactly. And I think, I mean, like, it's almost like every time I have the herbs, give me within 30 minutes, it's like the parasites are going, I need to get out. It's like it kind of just knocks on your door very gently. And it's never like, get me out now. It's like, okay, in your own time when you're ready, let's go.
And Jezebel, it's not like I put my parasite photos on Instagram, but I will say this, for me, I'm a like regular morning pooer. And
Yeah.
like same time, no matter where in the world I am, always the same time. So even when I do the parasite programs with everyone, my poo time doesn't change. Like I am still gonna be my regular, like, like I'm like, it doesn't matter how many herbs I've had or not had, it's still the same time. There might be like more urgency, maybe on a parasite program. But it's like for me, my time stays exactly the same. You know that, like, so we learn about that. I think you really learn about your body as well. You become very aware.
Yes. So aware. You start to learn, yeah, like you said, you learn so much more about your body, especially with, I guess, with your guidance of going, oh, rather than us like coming to the conclusion that this could be the reason of blah, 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 you give us different ideas of what it could be. And then we kind of decide for ourselves what could be the cause of things. And yeah, it's just it's a learning experience about your body. As much as, yes, the parasite excretion is what we want, I learned so much more about my body and how to actually support my body post and what good things I can be doing for my body after the cleanse as well, because you make us do them during the 10 days. Each day you're focusing on something different. And so now I'm like, right, I know I haven't had enough like water today, let alone electrolytes, because, you know,
Like,
or like I haven't put enough salt or like magnesium in my water. And it's like, oh, yes, that's right. Shelley reminded us in like day one, electrolytes, and this is what you recommend. So, yeah, very interesting. And I love the nervous system and the lymph tools that we use. So, that's something I take away with me pretty much every day now, and I do them.
and also, Jezebel, on that note, I think you've also touched on this too. You also get awareness about where you get them from, so you can make different choices or
Yes.
not. You can also don't need to. Like I know, for example, pork gives you parasites, like pigs are the worst. And I still eat bacon and I still eat pork to this day, but I do know that that's where I'm getting parasites from, right? Like, I
Yes.
still choose. I could give up on bacon and I could give up on pork, but I'm like, that's a very sad life for me. For me,
Yes. Yeah.
other people are happy to walk away from it. And so I'm like, I will take my herbs and do my parasite programs because I want to. And I think that's the gift as well where you really learn. Like it's not like, oh, how did this happen to me? Where did this come from? It's like, oh no, it's very clear how you got your parasites.
Yeah. Such an interesting thing you touched on because, as you know, on the last day of the parasite cleanse, I went to China. And because I'd done all the good work for the 10 days, I was like, I don't want to diminish my results. And, going to China and being at a hotel, usually they have like a buffet for you. And it's like, oh, but I just want some of that salmon, that raw salmon, and I want that pork. But I definitely was like, okay, I know where parasites come from. I know how to manage it, so that I'm not undoing the work. And I think that's what's really important is managing post cleanse
Yeah.
is to go, right, I get to choose. And I think that's what's important. It's I get to choose. And so it might be on next this weekend, I might be, okay, I know dairy me makes a good environment for parasites to live in. Maybe I'll stay away from dairy today and I'll choose an event where I really want to have cheese to have it rather than just average, just like cheese every other day kind of thing.
Jezebel, I love this. So, one final thing that you would say to your AMD wink wink clients that come to see you, wink wink, if they're listening to this and they read between the lines, or your personal training clients, what would you say to them about the experience or your experience?
I would say it does require a bit of effort, because especially if
Definitely.
it's something that you've never done before, there's a lot of things that you are learning. So give yourself grace. If you decide to do a parasite program, they obviously have you to be able to support and guide them. But if they come to see me as well, we can help optimize and enhance the effects of the cleanse by getting more things out if we do both things in tandem or even one before and one after so that you can see the difference.
Absolutely, Jezebel. I love that. And also, if they are doing the foot detoxes with you, definitely do one before the program, during the program, and at the end, if like as a minimum, because then you can track. Like I talk about, and you've heard me say this analogy all the time. I talk about the foot detoxes, like the water is like a PDF of what's going on internally in your body. And
Yeah.
so when you get that reflection of like, oh my goodness, this is what's happening because I'm on the Parasite program, it's so insightful.
Yes, very, very insightful. And I think someone that was in the program recently, Tanya, she mentioned in the thing like how interesting what came up for her when she did it before or during. I can't quite remember if she did it before or during the parasite cleanse, and how she was able to kind of apply that during the program as well. So very interesting.
Oh, and I love that. And I'm pretty sure, I don't think she did the foot detoxes during the program last time.
Oh, might have been before, just before.
Yeah, that would be so fascinating. That's so cool, Jezebel. Thank you so much for, and also just one more thing that I do need to say, not a question to Jezebel, but a plug for the AMD practitioners. Why I love them all, including Jezebel, but the other ones too, because they're all doing this, is how much you guys, and this is why, like you turn up to your trainings, you turn up to learn about the foot detox for your clients, but you're actually so invested in your own health. And as
Yeah.
a practitioner, when I was looking for practitioners, I'm like, these are the practitioners, like I've always invested in my health for the whole 10 years. Like I'm living, whether that means I've been exposed to mold or, like we don't live perfect lives. We're humans living
Yeah.
a healthy experience. And so I've always invested. And so when I was like choosing and working with practitioners that wanted to be AMD practitioners, I was like, they need to be investing in their health. They can't be asking their clients to do something that they're not willing to do themselves and
Mm.
really prioritizing their health and their self-care. And Jezebel, it's a credit to you that not only did you sign up to another round of the Parasite program, you signed up to a whole year of these 10-day programs
Yeah.
because you want your best health possible, but you want to be able to personally and with knowledge gained in these programs give that to all of your clients too. And so it's
100%.
such a credit to you, Jezebel, and such a gift and so beautiful that when clients are coming to you, whether it's PT or as an AMD in with a foot detox, they're getting your wealth of knowledge from
Yeah.
all the things, not just with me, but all the other things that you invest in. And that is where the gold is when you're working with a practitioner and seeing a practitioner. You get everything that they've learned and they're sharing it with you too. So whether you're listening
100%.
to this and you're never going to do a 10-day program with me, no problem, because you're going to hear about it from Jezebel and live through her experiences. and glean all the gold that Jezebel is going to keep sharing.
Yeah, exactly. And I just want to thank you so much, Shelley, as well, for like all the wealth of knowledge that you have through your lived experience. And obviously, you said that you've invested in, well, all the knowledge and in your health as well. And we can feel the ripple effects, like myself, the other practitioners, all your clients, we can just feel how much dedication you have to the cause.
Thank
And
you.
thank you so much for
Thank
all of that.
you, Jezebel. I'm so grateful. I'll stop recording and then we can tell each other we're so amazing, okay?
Love it.